Welcome back into the Murfreesboro Real Estate Report. This is the week ending February 7th, 2026. So we're well over a month into 2026. And we will be doing a January wrap-up for the Murfreesboro Real Estate Report here. Also, I have some really good stats. If you are a seller in Murfreesboro or Rutherford County, you certainly want to stick around and listen to these stats that I've got at the end because they're pretty telling stats, and I think it's something that's going to help you out a lot. I am John Turner. I am the team lead of the Turner Victory team at Onward Real Estate. We bring this report to you every week. We've been doing it for quite some time now, and I certainly hope you're enjoying it. We would ask that you click below to subscribe if you have not already. Also, if you have any questions, any data you'd like for us to cover, or any questions about today's data, please post those in the comments as well, and we'll be more than happy to answer those. So what I would like to do is I would like to start out with the January recap first. There's some very interesting things, something maybe we didn't predict for January. So I think it's really important. One of the first ones is new listings. If you look at January 2025, we had 887 new listings, but in 2026, only 664. So we are down 25% for the month of January in new listings compared to last year. If you look over at this chart, it shows those 2 years, but it also goes back to 2024 where we had 804 new listings. So we were still down 140 listings in January of 2026 over even January of 2024. So that's very telling. The new under contract, so contracts, homes that went under contract in the month of January. We had 423. That was well up. That was up 21% over 2025, where we had 350, and we actually outperformed 2024 as well. If you will remember back to probably into December, maybe the first week of January, I made some predictions for this year. I did predict that I thought we were going to see a year that would put us somewhere close to the 2024 levels, maybe even slightly better than that as far as total units sold. And as of right now, that prediction, 1 month in, but that prediction is holding true. The closings, another interesting thing, 285 closings this January versus 286 last January. So virtually the same exact number, but the big story is the new under contract and also the fewer homes coming on the market. So let's look at our weekly report. This week we are, for Rutherford County, putting a score of 56 on the market health score. And again, this is something that we at the Turner Victory team, it's a formula we've come up with to look at the market. And we pull in a lot of different things, not only locally, but on the national level. We look at mortgage rates, we look at consumer confidence, we look at the trends here in Rutherford County. And right now we're sitting at 56, which basically means that we're pretty balanced, but we are slightly leaning towards the seller side. So, and don't get this confused with a month supply, because we talk about buyer and seller markets and things of that nature. This pulls in a lot more information than that. We do have 1,281 available homes on the market. If I go back to last week, just so we can look at that, we had 1,247 available homes on the market. So we did actually increase our available homes a little bit. If you look down here at the month supply, the ones in the green means that we're pretty tight in those markets. So anything below 500,000, we are tight in those markets, and also the 800 to 900,000 or 800 to a million price range. We actually are tight supply there as well. 1,281 homes actively on the market. We had 186 new listings. 136 pendings. That was a really good pending week. Being the first week of December, boy, I'm going back a couple months, aren't I? Being the first week of February, there were 67 homes closed, And we saw 143 homes delisted, which means they came off the market. They were either expired or canceled, which means the sellers either decided not to have their home on the market, or the market rejected that house for whatever reason. Most of the time it's price, sometimes it's condition, but we can talk about that here in a minute with some of the seller information we have for you. Over the past 6 months, we've closed 2,566 homes in Rutherford County. So let's look at this. We were talking about our new listings. The orange represents 2026. The blue represents 2025. So this week, last year, we had 234 homes come on the market versus only 186 this week. Last week, we were way down. Also, we speculated some of that had to do with the weather, though. This reduction, too, could have to do with the weather. It may not. We have been trending a little lower for the past couple of weeks. So it will be interesting this coming week. The weather's supposed to be fairly nice, and we'll see if people are able to get their listing photos and how many homes actually hit the market this week. The concern is with pendings being up, and we've just talked about that here, and this probably need to get where I could toggle off some of these lines because we got so many things going on here it can be confusing. So we've got in the orange is 2026, the green is 2025. So last year we had 126 pendings for the month or for the week. We had 136 this week, so we were up slightly. That actually puts us on pace with 2023, where we had 137. And if I look at 2024, we were 134. So we have clustered around in here, except for 2025, where we were trailing a little bit lower. But the concern is if our pendings are remaining where they were or even elevated over last year, and our new listings are down, that we may see some tightening of the inventory, which for sellers, that's actually not a bad thing. But for buyers, buyers certainly want choices, and the tighter the inventory gets, the more upward pressure it puts on pricing. So we're not seeing that yet, but they are trends that we are watching. Let's see here. Here's our monthly closings, and this just puts things in perspective here. So for January this year, we had 285 closings. Last January, 286. Now, the interesting thing, if we look at February, we had 334 closings last year. Based upon pending home sales, I think for this February, we're at 67 right now, but I think we may approach close to 400 home sales for February based upon what we're seeing as far as the pendings go. A couple other things we'd like to point out to you is sales price versus the MLS, what you see in the MLS, and versus what we call the true original. And what this is we've come up with a formula, and we run the calculations because a lot of times someone will have a home listed and they will pull it off the market and put it back on the market. Maybe it was listed too high originally, so they pull it off, lower that price. And what the MLS shows you is the relationship of the sales price to that MLS price in there. But we like to go back and look at what the home was listed for originally and figure out what homes are selling for there. So in the under 300,000 price range, if you look in the MLS, things are selling for 98.2% of their list price. But if you go back and look at the original listing, they're actually selling for 96.5%. So that's on a $300,000 house, that's 2%. So that's like $6,000 lower, if that makes sense. And we do that for all price ranges. If you look at the $499, MLS says things are selling for 99% of list price, but really from their original list price, they're selling at 97.5%. So that's one thing we like to do to get just a little bit better data. We also do take the same approach with the days on market. If you look in the 400,000 price range, the MLS will tell you days on market are 43. Actually, from the original listing, it's 52 on average. And you can see our red ones climb quite a bit. The higher the price point, the more days on the market. For instance, 800 to a million, the days on the market, 49. According to the MLS, but the true days on the market is 66. So that's just some interesting things that we like to look at. The other thing, and we don't bring this out a lot, and this just timed out on me, and let me see here. We may not be looking at that then, because I will not be able to pull that up. I don't think. Let's see here. Tell you what, we will skip that. But what we were looking at is we were looking at the showing data, and we've been pulling that into a lot of things we're doing, so we actually can determine. We can basically predict for our sellers about how many showings we should have if we're priced right. Right now, for the past week, if you were, and what I was going to show is the $300,000 and $400,000 price ranges, and on average, you were getting about 3 showings per week on listings there. So, it's interesting. Sellers sometimes are stuck back in the COVID days where they think it's going to go on the market and we're going to have a line of cars outside their front window. That's not really what's happening. That first week, you may get anywhere between 2 and 4 showings if you're priced three to 400,000. And generally speaking, the higher price range, the lower those number of showings go. There are some anomalies, but that's pretty much what we see. So. Let's look at the 30-year fixed rate mortgage. We've been watching this every week just to kind of keep up with it. You notice here we bottom out at 6.06. This past week it was 6.11. So virtually unchanged over the past 4 weeks, which is a good thing. I talk about it all the time. Markets like stability. This time last year, we were at 6.89, so still a huge improvement here. And I think this is the reason why we are seeing the market take off a little bit more than what we've seen in the past because of that. Also, if you look at the MBA Purchase Index, which is just an index of basically it's mortgage applications. Okay, who has made a mortgage application for a purchase, not for a refinance? There's another formula that's used for that. But, not this week, but the past 3 weeks were extremely high. This past week, we were at 165.4, which is still very good. If I go back 3 years, and if I can pull this up, so January 30th, so if I go back to 2025, looking for January 30th, we were at 156. So we're definitely higher then. And let's go back to this January, 154.5. So we are higher at this point than what we have been at any point over the past couple of years. And that's a leading indicator of how many potential buyers will be coming into the market, because right now they're making their mortgage applications. They're trying to get everything lined up, and they will be coming into the market here before long. As I promised, we have looked at some data. We've analyzed it. Wanted to bring you some interesting stats here. Let's start out with new listings. We talked about this a little bit, but new listings dropped 20.5%. So we had 186 new listings this week versus 234 last year at this time. So new listings dropped 20.5%, but pending home sales were up nearly 8%. So we are, at least for the week, and we've been trending where we're getting a little bit tighter inventory. I don't know if that will hold or not. Remember, we had the big ice storm a week or so ago, so that affected some things. So we're going to need a couple more weeks to really see how we're trending, if that's an anomaly or what. But it is something we are definitely keeping our eye on. Price reductions. This is very interesting. 33.4% of all active listings in Rutherford County right now they've cut their price. So a third of all the homes on the market have cut their price, and they've cut it by 4.1% on average. Another very interesting stat that goes along with that is homes that had to reduce their price take 75 days on average to sell, whereas homes that did not have to reduce their price, if they priced it correctly from the start, only take 24 days to sell. So pricing your home correctly makes a huge difference. There's a 51-day penalty on average if you overprice your home. So sellers, we hear it all the time. Well, I could come down. Well, we are seeing that actually is not the case, because you're getting penalized for that. The other thing is prices homes that are priced right, so they sell within that first window there we're talking about, get 98.4% of their asking price. Okay, 98.4%. Well, we know that the market now has us about 96%, so a little over 96%. It's 96.8%. So really there is a penalty for pricing high and coming down. Not only is it costing you 51 days, it's also costing you about 1.5% in your price there. So, because what happens is normally whenever you reduce it down, you end up reducing it down to the price it should have been at the start anyway. So you take 51 more days to sell and you sell for 1.5% lower. So on a $400,000 house, that means you sell for about $6,000 lower and you were on the market for 51 days longer. So sellers, do yourself a favor. The numbers show it. Price it correctly from the start. You'll definitely be happier with that. Another stat that is very telling is that in Rutherford County right now, you have a 57.5% chance of selling your home. What do you mean, John? Don't all homes sell? No. You have a 57. So out of every 100 homes that hit the market, only 57 of them actually sell. So not every house will sell. Some sellers are not motivated. They're not priced right. They don't want to present it right. But whenever you look at buyer demand versus what we have out there in listings, just keep that in mind. Not only are you competing against all the other houses on the market that are going to sell, hopefully you're going to be one of the ones that will sell, okay? Because it's not a guarantee there. I think I hit on everything else here on my list. So anyway, I thought those were important stats for sellers. We are getting into the market where we are seeing more sellers come out. We're very thankful that our phone has been ringing off the hook with sellers wanting to meet with us, wanting to get a game plan together. We are really kind of getting into that spring buying season. This week's going to be warm. You're going to have people with spring fever wanting to get out. So if you find this data useful, especially if you're looking to buy or sell in Rutherford County and you would love to have guidance, someone who understands the data and can help walk you through this process, that's what we're here for. The Turner Victory Team, we look at this every week because it's important. Buying decisions in real estate are made on emotion, but also it has to be backed up with good data. Buyers, no matter how much they love a house, they're not going to overpay for it. Okay. Sellers, no matter how much work you've done to your house, no matter how much love you put into it, the market is going to determine what that price is. And by looking at the data and positioning yourself correctly from the start, you can certainly help yourself sell quicker and, as the data shows, for more money than if you have unrealistic expectations. I hope this has helped you. Thank you for tuning in. Again, I'm John Turner, the team lead of the Turner Victory Team at Onward Real Estate. If you have any questions about the market itself, please post it below or feel free to reach out to us. You can email us, you can call us. I don't think there's any way you can't find us on the internet if you don't have our information right now, or you can look below because we've got it there as well. So thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you next week. And up until that point, we hope you make it a great week. Thank you.